Welcome back. In the previous video, what we looked at was how to create a dense layer, and it was a flexible dense layer. Prior to that, we looked at how to create just a dense layer where we had fixed the values of input features and output features, and then we used that to create our our two dense layer sequential module that we were able to run. In today's video, we are going to see how we can create a graph for using the tf dot function and save that model and then reuse it. So let's see how we can do that. And for this, then we would need this library datetime.datetime. So because we'll be putting a timestamp on when, at what time point we saved the model. And again, we would need this line of code, %load underscore extension TensorBoard, and that's because we are going to visualize the graph that would be created when we use the at tf.function decorator. So in the sequential module class that we had created, there is a small change we need to do, and that is we are going to add just above this uh, method call, we are going to add the decorator at tf.function. And if you are not sure how tf.function works, please be sure to check out our video in this series that talks about tf.function. And so this is the only change. So now if we run this in these cells, we would have created a graph, and we can use this now, and we can create a model. So my underscore model is equal to sequential module. So this is going to, we are naming this as sequential module, and all these examples are directly from the docs of TensorFlow. So if you need more information, please feel free to check the docs out. So this is the model that we have created, and as we would expect, we can run this print my underscore model, and we can input a value there using tf.constant 2.0, 2.0, and another 2.0. Additionally, we can change the input. We can add a different type of input where we have another pair of square brackets here, and we repeat this particular values inside of it, and we have this output. Now what we can do is we can log all of this information that would be created by this graph. And to do that, here's what we need to do. We can set up logging. So set up logging, and for this we'll create a variable stamp. What that will do is we'll create a timestamp using the date time that we imported. So datetime.now, and we'll use strf time, and inside of this we'll specify the format. So %y, then %m, %d, colon, %h, capital H, capital R, minute and second, so %s. So this is how this is going to be our timestamp. And now what we are going to do is we are going to create the directory. So let's create the directory log dir is equal to we'll save it in logs, then function, and then here we'll specify the stamp that we have, and so we'll just put a %s, and that value will be replaced by this value inside of stamp when we run this. And we'll create a variable writer that that will save later on the summary for the model. So tf.summary dot create underscore file underscore writer, and we'll specify where this is going to be in the directory that we just created. So when we run this, that part should be set up. And if you click on this folder button on the left hand side in Colab, you should start seeing these folders appear here. I've run this code earlier, so the saved model is from there, but you should see the logs folder there. Now, if we continue this, what we'll create is a new model, and we'll create a new model because we need to trace it. So we need, because we need a fresh trace, and therefore what we'll do is we'll create new underscore model is equal to and is the same model that we created above, sequential model. So we'll use that sequential module, and that should work. Once that is done, we can now uh, start looking at how we can uh, save the trace and then look at the trace inside of the TensorBoard. So first thing we need to do is tf dot tf dot summary and dot trace underscore on, and inside of this we'll specify graph is equal to true, and then we have tf dot profiler dot experimental dot start and log dir. After that, what we are going to do is call the we're going to print the output of the new model that we just created and then write it. So z is equal to print new underscore model, and then we have tf dot constant, and here we specify the same values that we had earlier, 2.0 2.0. And once we have done that, now what we are going to do is write to the logs. So we have with writer dot as underscore default, and then we have tf dot summary dot trace underscore export, name is equal to my function trace, and then we have step is equal to 0, and profiler out directory is equal to logdir that we had created above. So this, after this, what the next step that we need to do is we can now launch the TensorBoard, and to do that we would write $sign TensorBoard dash dash logdir logs function, and it will take a couple of seconds for this to load. So, oh, that's my mistake. It will be TensorBoard with the D, and we should see the TensorBoard appear here shortly. There's an error, failed to launch TensorBoard, invalid logs function. So let's see. I think it's log and not logs. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Log. We do have the logs. So let's see why. Okay, that's because there's a typo there. Log dir when we run this. Now we should be able to see the TensorBoard, and inside of it we should see the graph that was created by the tf.function decorator that we used inside of the class SequentialModule. And it will come up, so it takes few seconds. So as you see, this is busy, and here is the graph that was created. So the idea here is that when we save the model now, this graph is saved and not the sequential model per se, and we'll see how that is. So let's go to the next step, and what we are going to do now is save the model. So to save a model, so save a model, tf.saved tf.saved underscore model dot save, and here we are going to specify the model that we just used, so my underscore model, and we are going to give it a name, the underscore saved underscore model. And once we save this, on the in the folder on the left hand side, we should start seeing the files that were saved. So there are these files that are saved: assets, variables, and saved model. And inside of variable, there are these two files that were created. And inside of logs, so there are we have the function folder, and inside of the, you should see, if you are running it just for the first time, you'll see just one folder. I've run it several times now, so I see these several logs saved in that folder. Now we can look at these folders right inside of this cell, and to see those we can type exclamation mark ls minus l, then specify the underscore saved underscore model, and we see the list of folders that were saved, just as we saw earlier: assets, saved models.pb, and saved, and variables. Likewise, we can look inside of the variables folder. ls is equal to minus l, and here we have the underscore saved underscore model, and we have variables. So when we run this, we see that these are the files inside of the folder variables. Now to we have saved the models. Now to load the saved model, here's what we can do: load a saved model. And to load a saved model, what we need to do is type new model, and we are going to save it as new model. So new model is equal to tf dot saved underscore model dot row load, and we are going to specify which model. So it is the saved model, and this will put the saved model inside of the new model. Now a point to note here, as I mentioned earlier, that the new model that was created, it was created by loading the saved model, and this is an internal TensorFlow user object as per docs, and it does not have any knowledge of the sequential module class that we had created earlier. And we can check that if we look at is instance, and we specify new underscore model, and then specify the sequential module that we had earlier, we are going to get false as a return, and that's the point to remember. And the model that we have just loaded, we can use it as before. So we can again go ahead and copy the same line of code that we had earlier. Okay, maybe this one. If we run the same, if we run the same new model instead of my model, now we need this to be a new model, and we get the same, we get the output as we did before. So that's how we can use the add tf.function decorator inside of a class. So for this method to create a graph, and once the graph is created, we can work completely inside of TensorFlow to use that particular saved model. So that was it for this video. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please do let me know. I hope in this couple of series videos you got intuition about how modules, models, and layers work. In the next video, we'll look at overview of just how layers look in Keras, and we'll look at a couple of steps in that before moving on to the next topic. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope to see you all in the next video. Bye for now.